Hi there everybody, Flash Tasman back again with another episode of Suzerain. We'll wait for it to load up. Victims of Change. Or Victim of Changes rather. Learn to read, Flash. Victim of Changes. Let's hope it's not all with the victims of said changes. Ooh, I forgot about that. The budget, let's have a look. So, the Helgeland Islands have been disputed for many years. Magnolia Navy probably hopes to scare us. Okay, they have got a very strong navy. Oh well. Right. Ownership changes of major corporations. Lucien arrived. Let's have a quick look at the journal. Tell me to. The government will pursue privatisation. Okay. Lucien arrived at the Ministry of the Economy. Assistants took our coach and showed us the meeting where Simon, Edith, Gus and Michael were waiting. As I entered the chatter stopped and stood up. After a few pleasantries, everyone but Simon took their seats. He opened his briefcase, produced a folder and proceeded to go over some documents. Greetings everyone, welcome to the Ministry of the Economy. Without further ado, we're here to discuss our economic shift towards privatisation. Michael and Edith exchanged smiles. Mr. President, before you arrived, Michael and Edith expressed a delighted decision to go down this path. Wonderful news, I'd say. I'm glad we're finally firmly on the path to a market economy. This was certainly the right decision. It will boost our economy and put more money into circulation and give the government much needed funds, of which, at Martin's 8 budget, we need it. It's a win-win situation for sure. I'm glad we're on the same page, certainly. Simon handed me and everyone else in the room 2 neat stacks of documents. So let's move on to how we go about implementing a privatisation plan. Please turn to page 6. Return to page 6. I turned to page 6. The title was Sordland State Corporation. As you can see on the document, the first company up for discussion is Sordland State Corporation. The Sordland State Corporation, or SEC for short, has been around for over half a century. Most recently has been handling a wide range of state construction projects. In their portfolio they have government buildings, various infrastructure projects, state libraries, embassies, basically anything government related. Privatising a company like this will certainly increase the government's budget. That, of course, will result in lots of opportunities for us to provide for our citizens. The funds could also be used to boost our popularity, especially with the election approaching. Not to mention the various other areas in which we can and should spend money. However, there is one catch. Conservative majority USP would not like this decision at all. For them, the state companies are part and parcel of Sordland identity. If we privatise these companies entirely and sell too many shares in them, it will have consequences for us in the Assembly. What if we sell a minority stake? It would be better than nothing, but why stop there? A minority stake won't help the government as much. We need to be decisive. On the other hand, a minority share would create less friction. This would be my preference. How much money for the government? Chance of re-election. The popularity might not make up for losing a large share of the Conservative vote, and that's the problem. The Conservatives compromise the majority of the Assembly. If we hurt their national pride, they'll turn on us. I completely agree with Lucien. Against full privatisation, we can't make enemies at this stage. Selling a majority share, this certainly would be a very good option. The state would keep SEC's operations under control, and the government would have lots of gains. I'm leaning towards this option myself. Returning control while increasing our budget, I don't see a downside. Yeah, I think that's a majority share. Yeah, okay, let's move on to the next option. Very well, turn to page 26. I turn to page 26. The title is the Nedam Mining Group. The Nedam Mining Group, one of the largest mining corporations in eastern Macopia, let alone Sordland. They call themselves the leaders of the world in coal. They certainly have enough evidence to back that up. Perhaps not as large as SSC, but we still have a lot to gain if Nedam Mining Group is privatised. I fully support privatising this company to any extent. Okay, certainly a good option to gain enough capital and the recession once and for all. I have enough contacts in Nedam. It is one of the most valuable corporations of the last decade. I can vouch for that. I have personal experience with the company myself. It will be a great addition to any portfolio. What would be the full effects of what would be the effects of fully privatising Nedham? It would be a very profitable sale. I know how many people would kill to have a portion of that company. I do think it's a good option. If we simply fully privatise Nedham along with SSE to bring in a large influx of money we could simply fully privatise Nedham alongside SSE to bring in a large influx of money. Mr. President, I hate to repeat myself, but fully privatising one state-owned company alone too would anger the Conservative voter base. All the budget in the world won't matter if we're not re-elected. I agree. Minority share, couple of minority share that it would go. That is the way to go. It would, however, be a lost opportunity. I think we should sell a majority share instead. Definitely not a bad idea at all. By purchasing a majority share of both SSE and Nedham, it would give us the most value. I think we should go with this choice. This might still generate a backlash from the Assembly and the general public. We should go for minority share instead. I'm going to make my decision. Oh, sounds good. I don't know what to do. Last page. I'll make some decisions. Right. We're not going to fully privatise. If we if we go minority state owned, a majority state owned. I don't know what to do. Because we don't upset. We need the Conservatives for the vote. If we retain ownership of one, we either go. If we go that way, we keep shares in Nedham, and so I can go with that. Okay. Yep. Okay. I signed the document ownership of the Big Four with a flourish and simply I could share. So. This is a path we're taking. I want to thank you, Mr. President. The decision will vitalise our economy. Although I wish we could proceed with privatisation, the great capacity is just a start. Certainly a step in the right direction. Part privatisation will still deal damage to our Conservative voter base. It's nothing we can't handle. I suspect that regardless, we will always support some of the Conservatives in the Assembly. Yeah. But the gains we will receive will offset the losses. Make sure those gains happen. As you wish. I will not leave any stone unturned. If you will excuse me, I have to go to work immediately. There's much to be done. Lucian packed up his bag and started making his way to the entrance. That will be it for today then. I know everyone has a very busy schedules. Thanks for coming. I want to see some results as soon as possible. So of course as fast as we can. I put the documents in my seat because I left the room with Lucian. Oh, that could bite us. Budget's come back immediately. That's a bit better. It's still bad, but it's not as bad as it was. Anything to see of that? No news yet. Okay. Results of the economic direction. The privatising process has begun as I expected. Sordland's two most prominent oligarchs wanted to speak to me about it. I showed Marcel Colonti and Walter Tusk into the conference room. The man sat across from the table from me, leaving an empty chair between them. Good to see you, Mr. President. It's been a while. Here, take this, a gift. He brought me a bottle of Elori Maroon, 30 years old. I heard Peter say that you favour this one. Straight to business as always. Marcel burst out laughing. Old man, you think so small, you lack the vision to see the bigger picture. Marshall approached me and we shook hands. Nice to see you, Mr. President. Here, a real gift. He took a set of car keys from his pocket and gave them to me. Come take a look. I looked from the window on the road leading to the palace. I saw a glittering brand new Randolfini sports car. A car that only the richest of the richest in Sordland could afford. It's yours. I can't look while the people go hungry. Michael, sure, seat yourself, little boy. What do you think I can't do better? Me, Walter Tusk. Thank you. Whatever you want, bribery won't work. Because it has to, because he's been bribed by Colonti before. Thank you both. Let's begin the meeting. Sounds good. Gentlemen, please take your seats. They said Lucian produced a set of documents from his briefcase he put on his reading glasses. So Mr. Tusk and Mr. Conlonti, President Rayne is about to sell private shares as Sordland's two largest national corporations, and now you're here showering him with gifts. You both clearly more skilled at business than you are at subterfuge. So tell us, why do you deserve to claim these shares before they go on the general market? Walter cleared his throat. President, listen. You and I haven't been on the best of terms lately, but I want to nurture a profitable relationship between us where we both win. These shares are important to me. If I had them, I could do so much more for Sordland, so much more for you. You haven't even seen what my connections are capable of. Do you want to get re-elected? No problem. I will make sure of it. This is my offer to you. I'll do whatever it takes to make you president for another term. I don't like the sound of that. Doesn't that sound great? What about you, Marcel? He can't do anything. He's not capable enough to. Mr. President asked me, not you. Before you spew out this big words, make sure you can actually do it, Walter. Mr. President, first off, Mr. Tusk is lying about the extent of his influence. True, he might have command over some people in the Assembly, but what he is sitting on top of right now is built by my father, Conrad Conronti. I want to be straightforward with you. If you give me the shares, I will topple this old man, which means I will have the same procedures over the Assembly. I can swear them as you like. But that is not all, Mr. President. Don't forget I have something that gives me an edge over this man and his archaic ways a powerful tool, control over the media. I can give you power over the Assembly and the Swedish public, basically a guaranteed win. He could never ever hope to beat this offer. You little snake. You are 20 years early to be the head of the Lothberg Group. Lothberg Group, founded by Noel Tusk, who used to be economic advisor to King of Sordland, currently organised his grandson Walter Tusk. It's got no clear structure, but spokesman is considered to be the de facto leader. The meet is a secret. Okay. Right. I made this group what it is. More them. Well known except speaker, access sufficient to do. The conspiracy theorists think that the future of Macopia is decided at these conferences. Very cloak and dagger. I made the group what it is. Perhaps Marcel has a point. What is it, Mr. President? Yeah, what's it going to be? Marcel in full anticipation. Shares got to Walter. Shares will be I'm sick of the shenanigans. You have to discover the shares, and if I give it to Marcel Conronti, I'm going to give it Marcel. Shares got what? You haven't heard a word of what I've said. It's all right, old man. You learned your place today. Thank you for your wishes, Mr. President. I will arrange a small transfer as a personal thanks. Very well, here's the paperwork. Lisa put a stack of papers in front of Marcel. He pointed various sections of pages in the stack of papers. You need to sign here, here, and here. After all the papers were sold, Marcel and Walter stood up. I think we all have very busy schedules. I'll take my leave now. See you later, Mr. President. I'll take my leave as well. Two men packed their belongings and left the meeting room. Okay. Political updates. Let's have a look at political updates. Factions. Okay. Alright, nothing at factions. Okay. Alright, what am I doing? Let's look at the news. Police sought successful raids. Earlier this week, police sought raids at shops and warehouses in the Arvery and Estoril City. The operation is reported to confiscate more than 2,000 illegal firearms and drugs. The captain of the police force in charge of these raids released a statement saying the shops belong to two crime families, and these raids were due to the fact we're giving them more money. Excellent. Today, government announced taking ownership of two largest tech corporations under the President's Rayne new privatisation plan. A sizable portion of the two will, including the subterranean operations, now belong to the private sector. Okay. Determined to end recession. Good news for the economist. Have a quick skirmish on missing anything. Alright, okay. Apparently not. Right. Passive following Section 1 enforces that the education institution of Sordland will teach all classes except foreign languages in the official language of the country unless they are given specific approval by the Minister of Education. Universities, technical colleges and other schools will provide classes in any language other than Sordland will receive a suspension of operations until they apply the approved process. I'm vetoing that, because that's been put forward by that far right guy. I'm not doing that. Here we go. This is a big one. Assembly vote on constitutional changes. Surge with driving me towards the Grand National Assembly for today's historic vote. It was a big day. I wondered whether my attempts at changing the constitution would end any differently than Alfonso's. I looked out of the window as the noise of the city diminished and saw that we were already inside the palace complex. The complex housed all the buildings of all the government branches in the centre of whole Sword. It was the biggest one of the biggest developments in Sordland. The Moon Palace stood on a small hilltop surrounded by trees. We passed by the palace and entered the forest that separated it from the GNA. That's a bit of a mouthful to say Grand National Assembly every time, so I'm just going to short it to GNA. We drove on the small road that wound through the forest. It was a warm day, so I rolled down the window. I could hear the birds singing from the trees. Hear the birds singing from the trees. Are you okay back there, sir? As good as I can be, sir. Surged my left turn out of the forest and entered the vast garden of the Assembly. Did you know that Mr. Tarquin saw Kent Holsword this morning? I heard some politicians talk about it today. Apparently this is the first time he's come to the city in the last 5 years. I thought he'd left the mainland and lived on Douro Island, never returned back to politics. But they were saying he might be here to exile as a member of honour rights for the first time. That's great, maybe I'll meet him. I'm sure you'll meet him, sir. He's coming here after all these years. He would pay the President his respects. Do you think he's here about today's vote? Of course he is. Yes, certainly, most likely. Well, I'm sure he will support you, sir. I'm not. We'll learn soon enough. Drove inside the gates, the parkway, and then parked the car. We have arrived, sir. Thank you, Serge. Of course, sir. Good luck with the vote. We're going to need it. I walked up the white stone stairs to the Grand National Assembly. The entrance looked like a temple gate from the classical era. The door opened to reveal a vast corridor of wood and white stone. I joined the crowd of people who were walking slowly towards the parliamentary hall. So I noticed Lucy emerged from the crowd of packed politicians in front of me. Looked relieved when he saw me. Ah, sir, there you are. Have you seen the Vice President Rector? And he's nowhere to be found. That's a surprise. I've just arrived here. I hope Mr. Rector arrives soon. Anyway, how about yourself? Are you ready to finally face assembly, sir? Yep, well, that's right, sir. Come on, we must get inside. We followed the crowd into Parliament Hall. After we were inside, Lucy and I separated to take our assigned seats. I went up to the mezzanine overlooking the hall and sat down. I waited as MPs took their place inside the hall one by one. After a while I saw Gloria walk to her elevated seat in the centre of the hall. Hang on a second. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We will shortly begin with today's agenda of the SP's proposed change to the Constitution of Sordland. True, everybody was in their seats. According to the current Constitution, constitutional amendments require 2/3 majority in order to reach Assembly approval. If the vote succeeds, the proposal will be sent to the Supreme Court. The proposal in question includes these points. She started reading the proposal to the Assembly. The first section shows Article 57 was modified with the following. She continued reading the proposal, highlighting each section. Section 2, paragraph 36. She went on. May not exercise his right to, and on. The justice of the Supreme Court. Most of them MPs seemed like they were already falling asleep. A simple majority is considered. The seat was really hurting my back. Section 4, paragraph 44A. It felt like an eternity had passed by and she finished reading the changes. I hereby invite you all to vote. She struck down her gravel. The loud bang made some MPs jump up in shock as they woke from their deep sleep. As I previously stated, it will require 2/3 majority in order to pass. You may now cast your votes. I felt the need to stand up and stretch. I looked down at the hall from the platform I was seated on. Some assembly members immediately walked to the ballot box to cast their votes. Most of them, however, began to congregate in the groups around the hall, discussing the changes. Go down to the hall with this. Ooh, with this, what do I do? I'm expecting you for democracy. I don't know what to do. I'm not shouting one of these two. That's just don't know. Let's go with. Go down to the hall where the MPs are. As I reached the bottom of the stairs, Kasara Kibena approached me. Mr. President, how are you feeling about the vote? I hope you vote yes. You know I can't do that. We've already stated our decision. I've lost my respect for you, Mr. Rayne. So many problems in Sordland that must be addressed, and yet you insist on stalling us with your democratic reforms. I knew you will fail. You will lose again, and so will your entire administration. This guy's alone. I hope to be there when it happens. Keep hoping, Mr. Kebner. Yeah, go on. He laughed. He abruptly turned away from me and walked towards his seat. I saw Easton wave at me. He was among a group of people in the corner of the hall. I walked up to him. On my way, I bumped into Mansoun Leek. He's the guy from the independent MB from Bergia. I think is it Bergia? It's called, whatever it's called, down here somewhere. President, I sorry I didn't see you there. I wish you good luck with your votes. Gave me a cold stare. Excuse me. He took his time and walked away. I finally reached Leeson. By now deep in conversation with a member of the party, he excused himself and turned towards me. Said, "Did you vote yet? We have to be quick." No, let's vote. I found my vote and prepared the envelope together. Leeson and I walked to the centre of the hall and cast our votes. He kept rushing me throughout the process. Gloria Bowdoes in slight respect as she saw us vote. Lucian pulled on my arm and whispered in my ear, "Mr. President, we have a problem. Tarquin Sol is here." I know. You have to accelerate the voting process. We need everybody to vote as soon as possible. We don't know what he's capable of right now, but if the Assembly members see him, he might influence them against the proposal. Should I talk to him? I would advise against that one. Somebody must focus on that. Any competition, the two of you would draw their attention away. Go on, ask Gloria to speed up. Let's just go back to our seats. Any noise we make will distract everyone further. Suddenly, Lucian pulled me aside. So what do we do? He pointed back at assembly near one of the exits. I followed, seeing that Tarquin Sol sitting there. Looked much older than he had 5 years ago, but I could tell he had came same fire, and some MPs had already gathered around in awe, chattering in awe. The assembly gradually went quiet as people started to notice Sol's president in the hallway. Leave him be. That's what you wish, yes. As I was talking, I spotted him walking back towards Tarquin Sol. He bowed in front of Sol and gave him a military salute. More people began to start going approaching, and suddenly Gloria came up behind us. "Gentlemen, why don't we go back to your seats? Let's follow procedure. Oh, by the way, we have 250 members today. As you can see, the member was only here. He's already casted his vote. As in now, so Mr. Toy, how many votes are we missing? Only a few." Albie and Claven, 3 other men, approached us with envelopes in their hands. These must be them. Good day to you, Madam Speaker. Good day, Mr. Claven. I'm so touched on, Mr. President. There's a friend who needed more clarification for his vote. Gestured at the man behind him. Let's get over with the gentleman. They went ahead and cast their votes. Let's win this, Mr. President. He walked to the seat with a fist in the air. Now, why don't you two go back to your seats as well? I'm really nervous about this. Very well, we shall. We both went to our seats. When I returned back to mezzanine, I saw Peter sit in the chair next to mine. Did you cast your vote? Yes, of course. He looked at Gloria's here. Assistants counted the votes as speaker. Was only a few minutes away from our platform. I really hope the proposal goes through. I hope so too. Sol is here. What? He's at the back of the hall. He's here to show everyone he's still alive. Fuck. Oh, excuse my language. I should have said that. But He tried to get Chloe's attention by waving at her. How many votes left? Chloe looked at Peter, she looked annoyed. It's looking pretty good, 20 more votes to count. Pointer turned to me, thank God. Just shut up, Peter. Sorry. Peter looked uneasy. Peter pointed at where Friend's rector was sitting. Looking at Friends over there, I'm sure he was behind this mess. You shouldn't have trusted him. It's not over yet. Don't jump, Peter. Don't jump to conclusions. Well, this guy's a liability. A single bang from Gloria's gavel reverberated across the hallway. Everyone fell silent. The voting has been concluded. I lean forward to hear the results. The proposal has 225 ayes and 26 nays. Get in! A historic result. Thereby, the Grand National Assembly surpassed a 2/3 majority and accepts the changes to the Constitution. The proposal will be presented to the Supreme Court shortly for the final voting procedure. The Assembly roared with all kinds of different reactions. Yes! We did it. Lots of us have the court to pass. A biscuit shouted in the hall. Among them I heard Franz Rector's voice. I want to congratulate the members of the Assembly and the President for finally passing changes to our dusty old Constitution. I also want to thank the members of the United Sordland Party for working with our party, and by inviting the Supreme Court to do the right thing and by not ignoring the decision of the GNA that was elected by the Swordish people. Loud applause came from the PFJP seats. Suddenly I noticed Kadarko was slowly rising from his seat at the back. He seemed to be struggling and used cane for help. He stood and gazed down the hall as all the members of the Grand National Assembly went silent. Call out to him. The faithful and selfless servant of our nation, the distinguished face of our public, Colonel Tarquin Sol. He looked at me. Congratulations, Mr. Rayne. He turned his back and walked out of the exit. He walked out the exit as two guards held the doors for him. Thank God he didn't say anything. In any case, the proposal was passed by Assembly. We just have to think about the Supreme Court. So it will be a problem. Our best bet is divide our guards. Votes is Garassi. He's the most corrupt person I've ever known. As I talked with Peter about the vote, we both have to discuss our next steps. Wait for surge by the entrance. Wow, we've passed stage 1. We didn't get this far on the last one, did we? On the last one through, that all went horribly wrong. That was quite an achievement, that was. Let's see what the newspaper's got to say. Constitution changes passed by Assembly. Only one member of Assembly abstained from voting in the session, attended by 251 members of the 250 seat Parliament. Cool, that's good. So only one person abstained. Okay, Rayne's winner of the Assembly. Tarquin Sans shifted the required number of votes from 166 to 30 majority. Still new. President Rayne's amendments passed with flying colours. Give me a second. The sun shines right through my office window, right into my monitor. I have one big monitor that's got the game on it. I've got a smaller monitor that has Streamlabs on it, and it's going straight onto the monitor with the game on it. Anyway, Vector Gotcha. Yep, we know that. Radical. Okay, backhanded praise there from the Radical. Right, next. Meeting on the results of the Assembly vote. Lucy and Peter and I convened at the massive balcony of the palace. It was nice to catch a breeze in increasing summer heat. Both had grins on their faces. Beaters got larger as he kept the counter access in the Assembly. Fellas, the first obstacle was cleared. Congratulations to all of us. We can celebrate once we get it past the court. The President is right, the Assembly was the easy part. Peter leaned on the balcony railing. What about Tarquin himself? Did you see him again? As far as I know, he's still staying in Sordland, but he hasn't cared to pay his respects to President Rayne yet. What the hell was all that about anyway? Him appearing out of nowhere. He's not a threat to us. We should focus on the task at hand. He came to the Assembly to make a statement, but we still won the vote. He's just joined a constitutional vote. I think it's perfectly normal that he'd come out for this. What do you think was his real intention? You wish to intimidate the Assembly into rejecting our proposal, sir, and it seems to have failed. We can't be sure, but he might be here to work with the court. As long as he's still around, he'll always have the influence over the republic he built. We should have seen this coming. We should have done. But he's no authority anymore. Well, the laws protect him from almost anything and allow him to be a member of the Assembly. He can still place bills and vote for them. That's popular authority, if you ask me. When you are the founder of this system, you don't need to be sitting in the President's office to have power. Vote train. This is right. He's already showcased his powers and the vote. Must be careful. Yeah, we'd have to be careful. Indeed. With him around, we have to be extra careful. We cannot let the party slip from our grasp. Exactly, we must have a plan for our next steps. Yeah, we need to have a plan. Of course, sir. Yeah, we have the first all cleared, but now we have the Council of Gunpowder Men in our way. I have to say that that's a fitting description for the court, but unfortunately for us, they are more than that. They are our largest obstacle yet. Also, you are forgetting about Mrs. Edmonds. They're not all Gunpowder Men. And Mrs. Morgan, she's technically a member too. Real trouble is Big Daddy Hawker. We can't let him control the court against us. Well, she could probably pass us. That's horrible. Oh, excellent. Some of the writing is brilliant. That's fantastic. I'm not saying that. Come on, gentlemen, let's not overthink this. Yeah, Big Daddy Hawker is going to be the problem. We surely cannot. We'll need to work with Mr. Garassi and Mrs. Edmonds to undermine also. Miss Morgana was helping out with the lobbying of the court. She's been speaking with Mrs. Edmonds, and I believe she's our key figure on the inside. Along with efforts are still continuing positively, but they have yet to yield concrete results. It will ultimately be up to Mrs. Morgana and you to persuade justices. We already have near inside the court. That's 1 vote out of 11. That still leaves us 5 more. Near has the ears of Justice Dalton and Merton, so we could assume they will have their support as well. That gives us 3 votes to start with. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but Miss Morgan cannot do this alone. Let's not forget about Mr. Hawker and his loyalists. We still need to reach out to the Old Guard and the moderates in order to reach 6 votes. What do you think we can do about it? We've come this far. Anything is possible. If we cannot get Mrs. Edmonds centrist, we'll have no choice but to reach out to the Old Guard. I'm sure the Assembly vote must be counted for something. I mean, it's past 90%, but I wouldn't dare reject such a popular proposal. It was indeed a historic vote. The President has accomplished something even Tarko himself had trouble with. This may also make the court see you as the ultimate threat. I won't be so relaxed. Right, hi there, back again. Sorry about that. If you think there was a cut, there was. Somebody came to my door and I couldn't get away. So let's excuse that. I apologise. Right, where were we? This may also make the court see you as an ultimate threat, so I wouldn't be relaxed. Yeah, if the justice fails at this stage, but will they really care? Yeah, let's go with that one. That's true, sir. In any case, we should start with our best bet. I've already asked Nia to arrange a meeting with Mrs. Edmonds. She's willing to speak with you. That's a good start. She's willing to talk. She's willing to cooperate. True. I'm sure you'll convince her. Lucy suddenly turned around and pointed at the side entrance to the balcony. Look, he's coming. It was friends Richter. He slowly walked up to us with a smile on his face. Afternoon, gentlemen. How are you all doing? Afternoon, Mr. Richter. We're doing good, friends. Enjoying the victory at the Assembly. Busy as always, Mr. Richter. How about you? You should have let me know you were coming out. I would have planned a barbecue or something. That's really sarcastic. I'm going to go with that one. The same goes for me, Mr. President. There are some busy days. These are some busy days indeed. Especially after that mutual victory, we should thank you for your efforts, Mr. Richter. You were a tremendous assistance. Franz bowed his head slightly in response. I'm looking forward to having many more cooperations between us and victories. I wish you good luck with the Supreme Court. I've conversed with Mrs. Morgner and Justice Zizek. We have at least 3 judges supporting the proposal. Blimey, he's at the ball, isn't he? We must be united if we want to break them. We also must be seen as united more than ever. Therefore, I'd like to propose a proper alliance for the next elections. Whoa! A more in-depth collaboration throughout the rest of the current term. Okay. What's that? That's what I was waiting for. We need an alliance. I'd love to accept your proposal, Mr. Richter. An alliance with the main opposition is too big of a deal. I'm afraid that's not an option. I'm glad we were able to work together on this constitution, but that's the extent of our collaboration. Yeah, but why alliance with the main opposition? What does that? What if we align with the main opposition? Let's get the country overview. Let's look at the right screen first of all. Right. Well, then what's the point of the opposition then? I don't see the point of that at all. I honestly don't see the point in that. As I expected, thank you for your offer nonetheless. Friends reached down at his pocket, fumbled with a handkerchief and wiped the sweat off his forehead. Anyway, I'll leave you 3 to it. We should catch up soon. I'd rather get back inside now. The sun is getting intense. He walked back to the door and left the balcony. Look at him go, he's such a clown. He says he wanted an alliance with the USB, that's new. There's something more, there's more to it than that. There's a lot more to it than that. He wants to take credit for the new constitution, if it passes, that is. Be careful, I think we should be careful here. We don't need him anymore, he'll get the credit in his dreams. I respect the man, but he's overstating himself. He has a tendency to play the nice guy when not playing the victim. Lisa looked at his watch. I think it's time to conclude our little meeting, sir. There was a tap on my shoulder. Livia Suno had joined us on the balcony. Pardon the interruption, gentlemen. Mr. President David Rishi is calling about the upcoming foreign policy meeting. Perfect timing. Tell him I'll be right there. I will, sir. She turned to leave the balcony, then back out. She turned to leave the balcony, then back to us. Congratulations on the victory, Mr. Rayne, Peter. She looked at Peter in the eye as she said this, and Lucian altogether. Peter followed her as soon as she walked out. Getting pretty hot there. So let me start this again. She looked at Peter in the eye as she said this, and they ignored Lucian altogether. Peter's eyes followed her as she walked out. Getting pretty hot out here. Okay, let's call it finished. You may both go. Alright, gentlemen, see you later. They're both left. That Peter Vecton is a real liability. A real liability. Right, nothing else to see other than this. That is invitation to movie premiere. Read report. In today's press statement, Franz Richter of the PFJP congratulated President Rayne for the successful. In his speech, he showed support for the USP leadership and called on the Supreme Court to vote in favour of the proposal. Okay, there's that one. Let's do this one first. Whistleblower arrives. Mumbai whistleblower arrives. A whistleblower from Mumbai Security Bureau has escaped to Sordland by crossing the border and turned himself into authorities in Estord. Agent Chelston Hailstone has promised to reveal extremely sensitive information about the development of a weapons program. We can give him refuge and risk antagonising Mumbai to send him back. Grant him asylum. Let's rub Mumbai up the wrong way. After receiving Agent Chelston Hailstone, we have secretly transferred into a safe house near Antle. The perimeter is guarded by special force units to ensure no escape or rescue attempt can be conducted by Rumberg intelligence. The agent is currently being interrogated authority to make sure the preliminary information is accurate, provided is accurate. Geopolitics, Sordland, XX whistleblower. Basically, Rumberg ain't going to be happy, but I don't think whatever we do, they're not going to be happy. If we give them back, they'll have seen that's a sign of weakness. Alright, let's do this then. I have been invited to an exclusive preview of Alfred Kerbuck's new film, The Morning Shall Come. Although I wasn't in much of a movie-going mood, it would have been unpresidential not to attend. This massive budget and Kerbuck's directional cachet, this drama was set to be a milestone for Sordland's burgeoning film scene. Personally, though, I was just looking forward to spending some time with my family. It was a very hot and sunny day as Serge drove us to the El Capital. The film was to be screened in the historic cinema Angeli de Elori, the very first cinema in Sordland. Ooh. As I gazed at the vast plains in between Holsword and Elori, sorry, I'll read that again. I gazed at the vast plains between Elori and Holsword as we drove down the H1. Serge had maxed the air conditioner to keep the Cadilla comfortable. Frank fidgeted with his tie as he stared out the window. What's wrong, Frank? Since when do you care about what's happening in my life? I know you know I'll support whether you pass or fail those exams. I've been busy lately. I've always time for you. What an honour, Your Highness. Frank, don't do it to your father that he's been working so hard for this country. Don't make me angry, Frank. Turned his head away and looked outside the window. I don't think that was the right thing to say. I turned to Deanna. Having a good time, sweetie. She nodded happily. About you, Papa, you won something, right? You should smile and keep doing your best even if you lose. Ha, I won't lose, isn't that right, Monica? That's my girl, yes, keep it just neutral. Everything's going to be wonderful now, isn't it, Monica? Now, no more politics talk, isn't that right, Monica? Let's do that. Of course. Let's just focus on having a nice time at the movies. Monica folded her arms and we drove on in silence. That's not a good sign. Serge rolled down the soundproof glass between us. We're about to enter Elori. We'll be out sooner in a few minutes. Thank you, Serge, finally. Thanks for telling me. I took a brief look outside as Serge rolled the soundproof glass up again. I could see many towers of Elori rising over what was left of the old city walls. Wasn't your vineyard around here? Monica pointed at the hills on the outskirts of the city. Yes, it's not mine, it's ours. She smiled. Serge shocked on the glass and gestured forwards. We were at the main square of Elori, and the historic Cinema Anglais, the Cinema of Angels, was right in front of us. Is this the place? Yeah. It was an old Baroque-style corner building with walls that looked like marble from a distance. There were exquisite ornaments on each side of the window. Of each side of every window, rather. Serge pulled a car to the entrance of the building, which is lit up by vivid neon stripes in many colours. On the wall next to the entrance, they were painted the words "Stop the Oppression of Bloods." Oh, lovely. Come on, let's get out. Serge opened the doors and we exited onto the red carpet. We were just about to enter the building when a journalist managed to block the path. Where's security? Mr. President, your constitutional reforms made it through the Assembly. How do you feel about their chances of the Supreme Court? No, the court will vote my way if they know what's good for them. Thank you, Mr. President. And you are aware that Tarquin and so will be present at the proceedings? Of course I was. Yeah, let's not talk about him, but before she could ask anything else, the guards ushered us inside the theatre. contrast, the cinema's baroque style interior. The exterior, the interior was modern and sleek, with bare walls painted in black, white and red. The film's casting crew already in the foyer with glasses and champagne in their hands. We approached the crowd and were welcomed by the producers and the event organisers. A man walked up to us and with quick steps. Madame, Mr. President, it is so good to see you here. He gently bowed at Monica and shook her hands. It's an honour to meet you. I am Alfred Kerbuck. The honour is mine, Mr. Kerbuck. I'm a big fan of your work. Who? I just go like, who the hell are you? No, we've got that one, Mark. Nice to meet you. Oh dear, my producer told me you had expressed admiration for my work. Frank snorted. I glanced at him and he instantly took a sip of his cola, because he knows I've got no idea who the guy is. It's very willing to know that you've been watching and enjoying my movies. No, great. If you don't mind me asking, which one was your favourite? This one was slightly different to my previous works. Okay. All of them are my favourites. He laughed. You flatter me too much, President. I know myself though they aren't all winners. Come on, just pick one. I love The Man Who Saved the World. Oh, great. He stared at me for a while as if he was trying to understand if I was joking or not. That spy, Mikhail Vargas, Mr. President. It beat my film The Soldier's Dream for top prize at the Benfica Film Festival last year. Frank looked me in the eye to school not to laugh. Why don't we take our seats? It's about to start. We entered the screening room, the lights dimmed, the film began. It was a period drama set in the 1870s about a soldier soldier who pursues a doomed romance with a widowed bloodish farmer during the conquest of Bergia. I wondered briefly whether Kerbuck was commenting on my own treatment of the bloodish people, but then he had finished filming long before I became president. All the credits rolled. I made an early exit. To use the men's room. I was washing my hands when I heard an unspeakable voice behind me. So what did you think? Tarquin leaned on his cane. He had the same fail appearance I'd noticed at the assembly meeting. Yet up close he still sensed the raw magnetism that kept him in power for 20 years. I found the plot questionable, but it certainly looks spectacular. About yourself? I found the plot questionable, but it certainly looks spectacular. What did you think yourself? Sentimental pablum for the enjoyment of the housewives only, and for a period piece, the script contained far too many anachronisms. Indubitably. I suppose you're still around, so what were you doing at the assembly? My country was about to make a rash decision and I couldn't simply sit by. Sure, work. I still have immense respect for you, Colonel. I wish it was reciprocated. It will be when you prove yourself worthy of it. A true president knows when he must step down. The assembly considers me worthy. Doesn't that count for anything? A lesson you'd be wise to learn yourself. I'd not let you and that bleeding heart idiot wait to tarnish my precious constitution. I'm doing this for the good of our country. You tarnish it enough for both of us already. I'm doing this for the good of the country. Ha. Some spittle landed on my cheek. You'll soon find out how your country repays you for your goodness. He slipped past me and out of the door. Several security staff of mine were now clustered outside the washroom, forming a buffer against a large crowd that had gathered. That's Tarquin's soul. I heard somebody scream. His guards closed around him and mine around me. By the time the chaos subsided, I was back in the car. My family's soul was long gone. Okay, that was uneventful. Let's see the press have got to say about it, if anything. So we meet sit to do in the morning thing. Let me think. We sing together. Yep, good. Okay, because he's that far-right National Front extremist lunatic. Voted it down. Good. That's dear, nothing. Okay. Fine. Yeah, okay, fine. Nothing to worry about there. Washroom Summit. I love the radical. It's fantastic. We need to get to the bottom of this meeting. We'll keep readers updated as the facts emerge. Alright, we've got a choice of what we got. That's, oh, I remember that from what? Yeah. I know what's coming on that one. Right. By my timeline, we've got another 15 minutes before I hit the hour mark. Let's do this one because I reckon this will take the time. And last time, no, I'll tell you when we get there. Morning haze surrounded the city of Dyer. As the sun dawned on the day of the detention, the holiest day of the new year to religion, it celebrated the first message received from God by Saint Dast and his third disciples. As per tradition, the celebration was held inside the arch sanctuary of Unity. Yeah, that word there, close to the public eye. This year, however, the first time ever, it was going to be televised. Blimey. I was never going to end up reading things anyway, but I'm making a light ash of this tonight. This was Lucian's idea, as he saw it, granting people the rare glimpse of the grand ceremony and showing them how seriously their president took this whole event, and it would ease any tensions that lingered in the region. As we arrived at the large cathedral in Sordland, a huge crowd gathered around our convoy as our car pulled up to the entrance. This will work out well, trust me, sir. Of course, that's only if the prayer is done completely correctly. Please don't forget the order. Right. Alright. If any of you watched the first playthrough, I did exactly what I'm going to do now, and I still got the bloody thing wrong. Right. I'm taking a picture on my phone of the screen, so I don't get this wrong. Because last time I did this, I got it completely wrong, in completely wrong order. And I was literally reading from my phone what screenshots taken to get the order, and I still got the damn thing wrong. First, you'll need to grasp the holy scepter in your left hand, then touch the altar with your right, kneel before the archpriest, and wait for him to put the sword on your shoulder. Okay, I could take screenshots, but that'd be far too simple. Then touch the sword of the hand you touched the altar with. Hand the scepter over to the archpriest and receive the sword before passing on to the disciple. Blimey. How does he expect me to remember all of this? Pretty straightforward, isn't it? Oh yeah. It rolls off the tongue, that does, mate. I didn't understand a word you just said. Glad, just do your best to remember, we can't lose our religious base over this. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I have no clue what. I just heard a jumble of words, Lucian. None of them made any sense. You will have to go first. I will come inside later, and we will meet up when your part is done. Good luck, sir. Exit the car. I think we're going to need it. Right, okay. Okay, let me get the second one up. Right, okay. Hurdy. Right, sorry. I'm going to find a position I can read it. Rotate, will you? Sorry. The height of professional standards here, I'm telling you. Right. I exited the car and I was greeted by a chorus of cheers and camera flashes. I waved to the people as I made my way to the grand gates. The Arch Sanctuary was a sight to see. With its towering visage, it cast a shadow over a large portion of the city. I had to crane my neck to see the narrow spires at the top. Just standing next to it made me feel awe and dread in equal measure. As I reached the gates, I spotted my welcome committee. The archpriest and his disciples waiting for my arrival. At my approach, they all bowed their heads in respect. The archbishop gave me an infectious smile as he straightened back up. Tall, handsome, in his mid-50s, he was one of the youngest and most popular archpriests in history. Some of his more avid followers likened him to Saint Dast. Can we search annuity, religion. Do finance? No, we can't. Organisations, factions, miscellaneous. Nope. No, we can't do any of that. I've never had a proper look at this lot before. Okay, means nothing. We're not done them yet. Right, well, let's just. Mr. President, praise God, it is a blessing to see you on the most holy day again. Welcome, welcome. Yep, that'll do. Christ, steel chid like the Archpriest says and raised both his hands, and everyone immediately fell silent. Oh, great people of Sordland, once again, we are gathered here to honour the day of dissension. I am indescribably happy to be sharing this moment with you, as well as every blood and sword, old and young, tuning into their television to watch this holy commemoration. Along with the leader of our great nation, I say, let the holy day begin. Stay far from evil, O sons and daughters, for evil hides itself under many disguises such as blasphemy, apostasy, and even alcohol. Right. Let's excuse my complete ignorance, but I've got no idea what apostasy actually means, so I'm going to look it up now. So talk amongst yourselves a minute. I'm looking at me. I'm doing it on my phone because if I start trying to mess around with my screen, just, you know, I might end up turning a bloody computer off something daft like that. I work in IT, but I still make a complete dog's dinner of these things sometimes. Here we go. That means a act of refusing to continue to follow, obey, or recognise a religious faith, or abandonment of previous loyalty, defection. Ooh, okay. That is heresy, you know. That won't alcohol. Be good, my children. Praise God, praise Sordland. He smiled beautifully at the crowd as the crowd burst into rapturous applause. After it subsided, he turned to me. Shall we move inside for your confession? Sure, let's get this over with. Most excellent. Before we went into the Archbishop looked at the crowd and pointed at one man. I turned and followed his finger with my eyes. It was a man holding a picket sign that said, "Stop the religious disharmony bill." I don't even know what that is. As you can see, every man has his faults. I think, is that the one that... Oh, that's the one that you can only do religious ceremonies in Swordish. As does every president. Have we had that yet? I take it you don't let... I take it you don't approve. Yes, that's right, but today's not today to discuss that. Led me through the main hall and straight to the claustrophobic ceiling and newest icons that line in the walls. We walked up a creaking spiral entrance to the top floor and finally arrived in front of the confession chamber. Right this way. Gestured towards the chair in the dark room. The room smelled of old mahogany and scented candles. The Archpriest proceeded to light each and every one of the candles, one each for vice, virtue and vice. I'll be right with you. He left the room. Later I heard the sound of a sliding window. Right next to me he spoke with a very soft voice. Antonio, speak and confess now before the one God, and may he repent your sins on the most holy day of dissension. I assume this is like a Catholic confession. That's what I assume. I wish to confess I'd up. Yeah, right. I wish to involve. I confess that I've been involved in bribery, been a bad husband. I confess that I'm not sure what I'm doing is Sordland is enough. I confess nothing. I have not sinned. Yeah, I'm going for that one. I'm not telling you nothing, mate. As every man sins, we must all come to terms with it. This is your chance to repent. Please repent, Mr. President, you'll be free of the burden of your sins if you beg forgiveness from God. Fine, I will confess. Yeah, I'll go with that one. I've not been the greatest husband. Family is the cornerstone of society. Under the watchful eyes of God, men are required to protect their wives and family. But God created us as complex creatures. At times conflicts arise among us. Tell me, what was your sin? I've neglected my family to stress on my position. That is between me and God. Yeah, I think that'll rub him up the wrong way, so let's go with that one. I failed to support my wife at the Benfica Festival. A husband must support his wife. You have taken the vows and you must uphold them. In this case, however, it is different. A woman's place is beside her family, not political podiums. I knew it would rub him up the wrong way. Anything else I would like you would like to confess? That's all for today. Thanks very much. Let's hope we don't read about that in the papers tomorrow. Before God, I thank you for sharing. You are forgiven before God, and may you never sin again. Yeah, may never sin again. The sliding window closed and the archpriest entered the confession chamber. For the confession to end, you must extinguish your candles represented by each one of your virtues and your vices. With this, the once burning sins connected to you are now smoke and then nothing. One by one I extinguished the candles. Well done, Mr. President. Let's move on to my quarters before the ceremony. He led me through the 1,000-year-old corridors to his office. A smell of dust and old tombs was in the air, along with the scent of burning incense being prepared for the ceremony. Well then, please have a seat. The wooden chair next to him looked like it might have turned to dust if at a single touch I sat down gingerly. It was surprisingly steady. Are you ready for the ceremony? Yes, get on with it. Patience is a virtue, Mr. President. He leaned back in his chair comfortably. I wanted to give you something, a gift to celebrate this special day. He pulled out a large rectangular box from his desk drawer. The box was lined with gold and expensive gemstones. A beautiful sight, isn't it? He opened the box and showed me what was inside. It was a dagger. The handle looked like it had been made of pure gold and had a very large gem at the end. On the blade, the words were inscribed, Vecturn Sistar, victory is close. On the other side, another set of words, King Edmund. This dagger belonged to King Edmund. It was a very important artifact of the Kingdom of Sordland era. It is now yours, Mr. President. Began with the fall of the Rayne aristocracy and lasted 1923. What was the Rayne aristocracy? So basically, quite long. There's so much history here. It's ridiculous. I've read this before, and someday I should actually sit down and just actually read all this. I wish they'd publish in a wiki, this in a wiki form, so you could actually leaf through the history of Sordland and Macopia at your leisure on like Wikipedia or something, because there's so much work gone into this. I could spend an entire lesson just reading all this stuff. So I'm choosing to Rayne. Okay. Okay. Be purple blood. When big launch invasion into Sordland after King Edmund's castle. Okay. Oh, basically, there's a lot there. A lot late another day. Right. Thank you, Honour. It is an honour. Thank you. Think of the past and think of your traditions and what brought us to this point. Now that it should be right about time. Good knocks were heard on the door. A young boy came in, he bowed before the archpriest, then me, before let us know the ceremony was about to begin. We made our way downstairs, where the ceremony was already in progress. The choir sang angelically as the archpriest took his position beside the altar. When they finished the hymn, an expectant silence fell over the room. It was time for my part. Right, I started my walking about, bowed and approached the altar. Right, let me just get this picture out I took so I can never get to right. Like I said, last time on playthrough when I made it, I got this wrong, and I don't know how, because I actually did what I do now. Right, okay. Okay. Right. Okay, so we were told to first you will need to grasp the altar with your left hand, you will need to grab the scepter with your left hand, and then touch the altar with your right. So we'll go with that one. Okay, grab the scepter with my left hand, touch the altar with my right. Okay. Hand the scepter over to the archpriest. Archpriest and use his sword before passing it on to the... Oh, I'll be the wrong one. Kneel before the archpriest and wait for him to put the sword on your shoulder. Kneel before the archpriest. The archpriest lays a sword on my shoulder. Okay. And touch the sword with the hand you touched the altar with. So we touched the altar with our right hand. So touch this altar with our right. Okay. I touched the sword with my right hand. Okay. You touch the altar with. Hand the scepter over to the archpriest. Hand the scepter over to the archpriest. And receive the sword before passing it to a disciple. The archpriest handed me the sword. Passed the sword to a disciple. I got up, proceeded to my designated spot next to Lucian. He leaned over and whispered in my ear, "Compared to last year, that went surprisingly well, sir." My eyes met the archpriest, and he very slightly nodded. Woohoo! We didn't get it wrong. We didn't get it wrong this time. Ceremony went on for another hour and a half. Finally, the noon bells chimed, marking the end of the cathedral service. We left the cathedral We left the cathedral to greet the waiting crowd. As I stepped outside, I heard everyone cheer and chanting my name. Lucian's gambit seemed to have been a success. We played proudly for a minute or two. "Sir, I told you it would work." We entered our cars and drove back to our street Zendaya. It did work. That did work. And on that point, I think we're going to leave it there. Hang on, let's just get something so we're scribbling all over the place. Right, I'm thinking that worked. Excellent, that went well. The Constitution is well on its way. That's good. And anyway, so that's the main episode today. We've agreed to semi-privatisation, and the Constitution is well on its way to being changed. We managed not to botch up that cathedral service. All good. Anyway, thanks for watching. I apologise for the break in the middle. These things happen. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know you've been getting on. And I'll see you next one. Thanks very much. Bye.